All right, let's do a round review. Unfortunately for you people that watched the last one, this is the same whiskey. Actually, not whiskey, this is Calvados. This is the 45-year Calvados. I'm gonna be honest, I don't have anything that's worthy of today other than this Calvados. This is aged for 45 years. When you think of bourbon, it's only aged in the one barrel. But in Calvados, it's different. They used barrels, sometimes used bourbon barrels, and sometimes multiple used barrels. And then they also put them into large vats that are 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 liter vats to age. So while this is 45-year aged, it's not the same as a bourbon that would be aged for 45 years. Now granted, no bourbon could age for 45 years because the barrel would be dry. But in this case, that type of aging gives you a chemical change that takes so much time. It's not about more wood, it's about a deeper chemical change than just more wood. As you think of in bourbon, you get more oak as you age. And a lot of times it gets overpowering. But in Calvados and a lot of other spirits, it's not just more oak. There's different chemical processes that happen than just absorbing more oak. And this Calvados is truly amazing. It's like got this dark brown color that has a little bit of red hue, but is just this rich brown. Oh, there's something about the smell of Calvados that will never get old. So Calvados, a lot of times, when you first smell it, it smells amazing. It smells like apples, and it's made from apples, if you don't know that. And then when you taste it, it's a lot sharper, a lot higher alcohol, note on the palate. But this is so subdued. It's so rich. It's so hard to describe how good this spirit is. I've had a lot of great spirits in my life. This is top 5, if not top 3, best spirits I've ever had. So let's talk about the round today. So today was Caracole and my first 5-star Grand Prix. AA 5-star here in Traverse City. American Gold Cup, last class here in Michigan. Again, it was our first 5-star. So I was, more nervous than normal. Is the way that it is. But, last week we won the 3-star, which is awesome. I was super happy about that. Now on Friday we did the Grand Prix qualifier, 150 class, the biggest, most technical track we had jumped. And we jumped clear, and again, confident, super happy about that. We were making progress. But when we were talking about a 5-star Grand Prix, it's different. So I walked the course, it was big, it was technical. Some of the lines were going to be helpful to our stride, and some of them were going to be difficult. The time allowed, as is normal with Caracole, because she's so fast, was not an issue. But I was still our first time jumping in open water. There's a lot on the line and a lot of unknowns, because it was our first 5-star. She felt great this morning when I flatted her, and in the warm-up ring she felt very good. I could really get my approaches right, and the landings felt really good, so I felt good going into the first round. Let's watch the first round. So heading to the first fence, I made a choice to do 7, 1 to 2. Most people did 8. But I saw the previous rider do 7. It was nice and easy, and that was nice and easy. And I was happy we did 7 instead of trying to do 8. And then nice turn to fence 3 with some power off the floor. Make sure we didn't land too shallow. Nice 5 to the combination. A little bit, underpowered at B, and I think that's the change I need to make in my riding. And then pretty quick to the orange, wait a second, and then go to the water. Very great on the water, a little bit steady. Some people it was a bit flat. It was not a difficult line after the water. And then this oxer was very wide. Liverpool, you want it to be a bit steady, but not for the back rail. And it was very steady for us, and she saved me there because I was too flat on the oxer. for the steady 4. I walked about 3.5, but then very good fence 10, coming to 11 A, B, C. Didn't want to get under this because B was quite wide, and there was a lot of rails there, but she flew steady 5. Very happy with that, and then 9 stride here to the second to last fence. Very careful here. And at this point, it was a bit of a steady 6 for us. Some people flat. She was amazing. Before last week, you know, I've been really happy with Carol. She's unbelievable. But I felt like I was missing something. And I was missing something, not her. I was missing something. And so when I was watching the European Championships, I was watching Julian very closely. I've watched every single round he did on Dubai 6 to 10 times each round. Because I was trying to figure out, like I said, I was missing something in my ride with Kara. I could get enough rideability, but I didn't feel enough, you know, for 5-star and bigger level. And so I was paying a lot of attention. And what I saw was interesting. Most of the time, when the horse is cantering, as their front legs are landing, then their head and neck go down, and your peak pressure at the canter is when their front legs land and their head and neck go down. And then you lighten up, and then it's a very rhythmical pattern, because when the horse's front legs are landing each canter stride, their head goes forward as your body's going back. But what was interesting that I saw that Julian was doing is he was not pulling just when the horse's front legs were landing, as I said. He would pull as the horse was taking off for the next canter stride. Not jumping, next canter stride. And that was very interesting. So then after I saw that at Europeans, I went back and I watched, I think I spent over a few days, probably 6 hours, watching and analyzing the rounds of Julian riding Caracole from last year, because I thought I was onto something. And I could see the same motion when Julian was riding her last year. And so I started to play with that hand motion as she was taking off for the canter stride of drawing, which is not normal use of your hands. I started playing with it, and I got a lot of great results with Kara with being able to moderate the range of her stride while being able to keep the rhythm. Range is length of the stride, rhythm is energy. The problem was before they were linked. When I had enough rhythm, I had too much range. And so I had to ride defensive. But once I started this use of my hands, I actually got control over the range, to the point where last week I was a little bit down on rhythm. But this week I felt confident to up the rhythm, and I could save the range. And so that was a big thing I did before the 3-star week last week and into this week, the 5-star week. And that was critical for the round that you just saw. Without that increased rhythm, we would not have had enough energy to jump those fences. Caracole is amazing, but she jumps with rhythm, and I need to be able to give her that rhythm without the range getting away from me. And I'm so happy that I saw that detail, I practiced it, and it worked. So now to the jump off. There was a lot of really fast riders in the jump off. Ashley Bond, Kent Farrington, Daniel Coyle. There was a lot of fast riders. And I went right in the middle of the jump off. I had Kent and Daniel Coyle coming after me. I had Ashley right before me. And so the goal was to try to make the jump off right for Kara, because there's a lot of ways to cut every jump off, but we have stride, and you know, nothing's impossible with Kara, which is amazing. So let's watch the jump off and we'll come back. Going to fence 1, big distance, big canter to do 6, which was the leave out. I think only one other person did it, but I did 7 in the first round, so I felt confident. And then carry that speed on to the oxer, fence 3 here, sharp turn back to this vertical, little bit of a right drift here. I had to move my right leg, and where we landed was crazy. And then just gallop off to fence 10 or fence, 5 in the jump off. tight turn back to the double, but not too tight because B was very wide, so we didn't want to have that at play. And it was a going 7, but you see, if you're counting, I did 6 here. All right, so Ashley Bond was second. Our time was about 1.5 seconds faster. Ashley and Donatello are one of the fastest combinations on the planet. I'm not 1.5 seconds faster because I'm faster. We're 1.5 seconds faster because Caracole is faster. She is so confident at speed. She has a stride that can handle it. She has a stride that you could still turn at speed. She is unbelievable. The 6-1-2 was easy. We carried speed defense 3. We could turn back tightly with speed defense 3, back defense 4, sliced fence 4, galloped off defense 10, little bit of space, but it was still a tight turn back to the combination to make sure that, we protected B, because B was as wide as it was in the first round. There was a lot of issues at B in the first round. So I had to be cognizant of that. And then it was a jump off 7 to the last fence after the combination. That 7 was getting long for a lot of people because after a tight turn to the combination, you landed shallow on B, making the 7 long. And I knew 7 was going to be long, so I landed for the double and I went. Like I said, Caracole is so amazing. She can extend her stride so quickly, so amazingly. I'm so proud of Cara, the team, Pomponio, her groom, everyone, because, when we bought her, there was a lot of uncertainty. And I was very uncertain. Could we know and we knew how great she is and she was. But I was so uncertain, could I ride her well enough to fulfill what she deserves? We've taken our time. I've learned a lot. There's been some bobbles along the way. I don't think I'm all the way there. She felt most like my horse today than any other round, which I'm grateful for. But we still have some road to go. She's amazing. Our team is amazing. And I can't wait to see what we do in the future. But for now, just celebration.